Walking and talking. Walking and talking. Walking and talking. There it is. Let's see if I can... Hopefully he doesn't turn right there. We're gonna come up with a topic eventually. Hopefully that topic will have some sort of pertinence to what I'm talking about. Got him. Oh, you son of a beach!
Damn.
So, man, just like thinking about stuff. Just thinking about a lot of stuff. That stuff is just running through my mind. Stuff like that. Being where I want to be, you know, with stuff. You know? Alright. There we go. Son of a bitch. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm not. Gotta leave it be, you know. Gotta leave it be. Sometimes I'm like trying to be good, you know. It's like being good. Being good. Sometimes I want to be good. Other times, I still want to be good. Alright, turn that off for a second, because it's annoying. Alright. We got a passenger now. He's a bit dead, but it's alright. He'll be fine. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take these. Alright, we need a motorcycle, so...
Citizens report at 245 west of Silent Probe Mountain.
Oh, shit! Cops!
So, come up with a non-invasive topic, something that everybody can get behind, you know, like something that'll get me like some sort of people that want to watch this that actually like are on the internet every day. Because, you know, like in order for me to get like groundswell for charities and stuff like that, I have to have people wanna, and that's a booty crack. That's a rock booty crack. Or rock boobs, maybe, you know. Damn it! Ah, I thought I was gonna go in between it. I could have like turned it a little bit and gone the other way, but I wanted to hit it a little bit, kind of. I wanted to go underneath it, really. I wanted to like duck, but we're gonna worry about. Oh, I got Harry Potter socks. It's pretty cool. It's pretty tight. I like them. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I read like 1.5 of the books, but I like the movies, and The reason why is because I didn't like the words. It's like I went to school already. I'm a learned student, and there we go. Wait till it gets right in the hairs, and bang.
You lot
Got him.
really were pathetic.
All right. I think the reasons why I think like is because I think it's like I had a lot of problems with the way that the school worked out in the movies, though. I think that if they would have if people would have had more houses,
Squish.
like if Gryffindor didn't win all 4 years or all 4 semesters, I guess, or whatever kind of way they were doing stuff. Yeah, if Gryffindor didn't win all 4 years, then I kind of would probably believe their story a little bit more. You know, like, cause like Voldemort, maybe he was just like a really enthused person that was coming back to life to see his family win a house cup, you know? And also rewarding kids for like 20, giving them 20 points for like child endangerment. That's not really like the best thing. It's not really like the best thing ever. You know? I don't really like find that appealing. You know? It's like, oh, they won, but it's like, wait a second, what about like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw? They were like supposed to be like, was it like a friendly match, I guess? And they maybe like Harry Potter was like the autistic kid, and they were just trying to help him get through. I mean, then I'd probably understand it a little bit more, because, but also fighting evil, as far as things go, probably would like Harry Potter wouldn't need to like win all the time. You know, all that stuff. They call it Pottergate. It's like oh, fictional characters. How you don't follow the laws of design. Or moral capacities, I guess, as far as things go. You know, there's that stuff. There's a lot of stuff in mainstream media that people like just pass off as being like yeah, that's like the thing that I was talking about. It's like it's just a thing, man. It's just an example for people to come up with. No, the example is based on utter like stupidity and sectionalism. Yeah, man, maybe Voldemort wasn't so evil, man. Pottergate, man, Pottergate. Talking about this is the reason why I kind of I got into the books, and I realized the plot line basically was a lot of like whimsy, I guess, but also too like it's like Harry Potter had a leg up every single time, though. Like a leg up on everybody. It's just like, oh my god, he's such a celebrity. He's so cool. He's gonna win, isn't he? Is he gonna win everything? He's gonna win. But dude, I mean, it's like awesome project. It's got like this. It's got like whenever you stay a certain. I made a like a phasing spell. Like whenever, but everything else was like used for the military. And Harry Potter was just like the, oh, it's a, shit. Harry Potter was just like, oh, he's so amazing. You're so cool. I'm gonna use this stuff for the Navy when I get a chance. Man, I think these are common more puristic rants, I guess, sometimes, or altruistic rants, I guess. I'm hitting my mic, basically. Um, People think that like it's like a friend of mine's don't friends of mine don't like Harry Potter for the simple fact that oh shit, you son of a bitch. God dang it. Um, Friends of mine don't like the franchise because I guess it puts too much emphasis on us higher I mean not higher I mean like beaded selection, like highly picked selection, basically off of like where like a racial and cultural epitaph stands. And I think that that a lot of times I mean people think that like Hollywood does that on purpose. Sometimes it's just like sometimes it's like there's a lot of white people, man. You got if people say like oh like all right, god damn it, got him. Yeah, gonna do it. Gonna get the frickin' motorcycle. It's right there. It's in my line of sight, and I'm gonna get it. Um. And also too, I can't really say anything about stuff like that, but also I can hope, I guess, for like the stuff that they say to be not lasting long, I guess, or the stuff that people say to not be lasting long, because I really don't find it funny when people or find it like oh that's the way things are supposed to be. When people like pick and choose their friends sometimes, or like try to find the most like. Try to find the most diverse crew and cast. But also too, in the same sense, I think that that's what you're meant to do sometimes, is to go out and find like the most diverse people you can try to find, to be able to make sure it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like, and it's like it sucks because it's like under the guise of sounding or looking like you're being fake or being because you'll lose people if you make a product and you think that product needs to have a certain, like McDonald's. Take McDonald's for example, using a lot of African American actors. I think a lot of times when you go into what people see and what people notice is they notice that that they have to start making their food a lot healthier, basically. And it's just like, oh, it's not real beef. It's just like, obviously it's not real beef, man. And systematically, if a bunch of people like from a certain culture like that stuff, and then a bunch of people from that certain culture get sick every year. That's like system. It's like that's like it can be accidental, but it's altruistically basic. I'm saying altruistically a lot, but that's my new word now. Systematically killing off people that you can say that like, oh, I did this didn't happen on purpose. Like when and then another Monsanto happens, and it's like, you're shit. God damn it. But understandably so, if when people let that go for so long, they like in Hollywood or in a certain context, I'd see like people decide that they're going to allow things to go for a certain amount of time, and that dude's going to get back up. There we go. All right. People decide that they're going to do something for a certain period of time, that they're going to allow something to happen, and they think that everything's all right, basically, within their own company sometimes, and basically, like, I guess what happens sometimes is people who work within a certain industry don't believe that things are being humane, so what they do, or what people do sometimes, is basically form unions in free workplaces. and at-will workplaces, not free workplaces. And at-will workplaces, they unionize and they start to say, okay, this is the way that we want to do this, and this is how we want to privatize this in a certain way to be able to make sure. It's like saying that like the people who created YouTube and the people who constantly put content on YouTube somehow control everything that YouTube actually does. Like, say for instance, how Logan Paul and all those other different people kind of control the content that's being seen on YouTube every day. But understandably so, people have so many subscriptions sometimes that they or people have like so many kinds of different subscriptions so many times, is because they think that a certain amount of people are saying everything that they need to hear, I guess, and that's kind of disheartening, I guess. Disheartening. It's like in a thing that's supposed to be about individualistic expression, and the way that, because I think that that's the reason why people liked YouTube in the first place. It's individualistic expression. People could do things very cheaply, and they could do things really easily. Oh god damn it! Oh, you son of a bitch! But most of the time you're like God damn it. There we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Most of the time you're like oh, wait, hold on. I gotta go to the bathroom because I did not plan for this. I shall be back. All right. I think the more you look into the way you want to like, and that's the reason why I think that like that I want the way that I write something to be more of like a cohesive team or something like that. Like it's like that's what I want. That's what I think. It's like a cohesive team of some sort of like a whole bunch of different walks of life. Basically, not just a ragtag team of people who are professional from different cultures and different things that basically, like, they never even touched on what voodoo could actually do in the, and that's what I think is really cool, would be really cool about a bunch of things that they do in and on Harry Potter's whole division. Like, oh man, that would be so cool if they actually came up with that kind of stuff from like voodoo and like a whole bunch of cultures, because there's a whole bunch of people who've like, oh man, there's just like, oh jeez, there's like so much cool stuff that like that people don't even know about. Like there's so many different it's like say for instance the power of suggestion basically is like yes, I broke a bench. Awesome. The power of suggestion is so like prevalent sometimes within what like people have, like having like manipulative communities and stuff like that, or it's like people don't understand how much they're controlled, I guess sometimes. People, I mean, and also too, I guess people don't realize the amount of they are controlled by is by like saying that like, oh, you're a part of a country, you're a part of a greatness, but it's like, oh man, you're like, you're a part of a or something bigger than yourself, but also too in the same sense, like I mean, like you're not given everything that everyone else has to succeed. Like it's been like comparatively speaking to the country to the city, from the country to the city, or from suburbs to rural areas. Rural. It's like the amount of exposure that people get, or the amount of exposure that people think is okay. That's what gets me sometimes about.
Coyote, definitely a coyote.
That's what gets me about some existentialist stuff. It's like you see an existentialist crisis happening somewhere, or an economy just tanking, and you're like, wow, well, that stuff happens. No, it's like it's not supposed to though. Like over a certain period of time, you'll see, like, god damn it. Over a certain period of time, you'll see people, like, I mean, over a certain period of time, you'll see people start to like dishearteningly. And yes, I just farted. It was great. You'll start to see people disheartened over what their society actually is, or what their society has actually become, and that's the kind of I kind of got the idea from Westworld a little bit. There's like the thing in the Loot Crate. It's awesome. It's cool, but it's had Discovery, and it also had people who are like just hanging their heads in silence and something like that. So. Awesome.
Oh, give me a break.
But the more you look into what is real, what is fake, what are your concepts of what a certain, like, I mean, and also too that kind of sets apart what the Wild West was about, or what the people don't understand is like it was like a whole new world. Basically, that's what kind of Westworld is the whole, in a nutshell, kind of. It's like the perspective of people who weren't living there, and that's how it is basically in a place where you're constantly looking into the abyss. It's like you no longer see your size or relative size. Basically, you see just vast open emptiness with just desert and coyotes and shit that can kill you, and lizards and snakes and stuff. It's really interesting to me to actually see the human condition with the way that people watch, because it's a metaphorical experience whenever you're watching it, and I think that I haven't watched it, but I'm sure that it is, because I mean, I think that's what he was going for whenever they decided to make it. I think that's what it is to me whenever I watched like the episode that I did watch. I like to watch things whenever people don't like listen to it though, because I like to see what people missed from it, like whatever people saw, however people saw it. Well, however people saw it, it's like what was the thing that decidedly made that series so pertinent to everyone and everything, and I like to theorize about what that stuff is. I like to constantly theorize about it. It's like my hobby basically, and when I binge watch it, whenever I do, it's like I did binge watch whatchamacallit, Stranger Things, and after a while I started to get a theme of some sort. My little brother kept watching, and I kind of walked off and realized that there that there was a there was just like a writing loop basically that I kind of didn't understand, or I didn't really take as like, wow, that's writing or anything like that, or that's production value. I saw it and I thought it was cool. I thought the way that they melded their certain graphics programs together with what they got was pretty awesome. And yes, I'm flying through the air. But I thought the story in itself wasn't that unique, because I actually I saw other stories that actually mimic that. Like say for instance the kid in the field with who got like the hurricane that went into his eyeballs and got taken over by something. That was basically an ode to Dreamcatcher, actually, or the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, basically, but also to in a Dreamcatcher-esque sort of way. So like there was a lot of writing that like they wanted to include and wanted to pay odes to and stuff like that, but they wound up kind of not leaving enough story for, I guess, because I think that if they went in a different direction the way that they were writing the story, I think they'd get an entirely different audience. Like they would. It really would make it that way. Like people would see it. People would actually see that there was an entire different audience that really wanted to start paying attention to it, I guess. But also too, I think the way that they actually wrote it was kind of clever in a way, because it was kind of clever because it was like all paying all these odes to different things and stuff like that. It's like it's not like they weren't coming up with stuff on their own, but it was like they decidedly went into the direction where all of these things, it's like if none of those things ever happened, then all of those things will be paying, like if like that came out before everything else, then it's like in a sense it was happening like it's set in the 70s, right? Or the 60s, right? Or 70s, basically. So in the 70s, basically all that stuff happened, and then all that media came out. So basically it was like a whole Inception timeline sort of thing. It's like flip-flopped over onto itself, and time went kind of like faster, I guess, in this reality about where the references constantly came from. So if like none of those movies were ever made yet, then none of those references could ever be actually referenced to. So technically speaking, that's basically the way that I kind of saw it, and I think that a lot of times I don't see a lot of times I don't see where shit. I don't see where those plot lines actually go. Like, where are they gonna actually? Because it's like this was a stop off point. I think that's like the season 2 was like a stop off point basically, and they were referencing a whole bunch of different stuff and everything like that. And season 1 they were building on the story and not only referencing towards a whole bunch of different stuff, but I don't know, like is it like Floater, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. Were they cruising as far as the writing went in season 2? I don't know, because I noticed that there was a lot of stuff that they came up with originally, but there was a lot of stuff that they didn't come up with originally, and it just stuck with me, I guess. And also, like but also too, in the same sense, like there was an immediate plot line to where you know basically what was about to happen, kind of. It was easily predictable, and I guess that's the reason why people kept watching it. I guess sometimes, too, is it's where you could easily You could easily predict what someone was about to do, and I'm gonna get this guy from really far away, hopefully. Oh man, I gotta get him right here. It's like range is off.
I told you not to fuck with me.
But it's so stupid. But I think that a lot of times too, as like, or even like serial killer dramas or something like that, like the way that they like try to make like everything make sense or like foreshadow something or anything like that. I don't know. So I just headbutted the tree branch. It's not something new that I've actually even thought about. It's just like stuff that I've realized is the way that they do things or do things with, like not to say that there's and also I think a lot of times oh man, it's really hard to keep a single thought sometimes because all the shit that they do in the city and the way that our thing is working, like the reason why there's a whole bunch of different stuff in the water is because of factories and plants that are like maybe like 120 miles away, and their spill off goes to cities and stuff like that, and then people start getting diseases and stuff like that, and then like diseases that are preventable, I guess, but that's the point, is it has to go somewhere, you know. I don't know. It's not the industrialization of anything. It's the fact that people don't want to do shit. They don't want to pay for it. They don't want to look after it. They don't want to do anything with it. So it just happens like that. And I think that they should make a movie not about the people that do it, but about the actual event. Because when you personify something, you're like, oh, that's a good story. Look at that, Erin Brockovich taking care of those people, man. That's all she wanted to do. No, the real story was terrible, and it was still terrible. Yeah. It's just like nobody's paying attention, and no one cares. But I don't care either. So it's like, because I can't do anything about it either. It's whatever. It's just like all those people are talking about like all these gossipy stories and stuff like that, and all these things that are happening and stuff like that. Just like all these gossipy things are happening, man. All these things are happening in YouTube community and all the movie community and yet people are still poisoned and no one's doing anything about it. Just like, oh, we're gonna raise money to do something about it. It's like, that's great, but go talk to that guy that's doing shit and then say, hey, don't fucking do that shit, please. Just don't. Just like, stop it. And also, it has a lot to do with the way that people systematically hurt each other constantly, and people who, the way that you hurt each other, or the way that you try to hurt each other, or go after someone with revenge, or lameness, or just like that dude shot one of my friends, so I'm gonna get a bunch of my friends to go shoot that guy. And then with that happening, an entire society is basically looked over, and they're just like, oh, we had to fight for our rights. It's just like, well, what about that dude's rights that shot your friend? And what about the fact that before that they had an argument or something like that, and or maybe like you just let live, you know, or something like that. Just like, because not only does it affect your, let's say, like your standing as far as society goes, because you start posting up more on the block about talking about stuff, or talking to people, telling people about your opinions about stuff, and saying that, oh, if I had something, I'd be able to murk that guy or something like that. And then what does that say to the people that are listening? Because sometimes even the people who don't listen Even the people who aren't trying to listen are like, wow, that guy's talking about a whole bunch of people just like out in the open. That's crazy. It's fucking stupid shit. It's fucking dumb. Like, what happens if one of his friends, one of the people that hears it, overhears it, or that's supposed to not hear it, overhears it, and then goes and gets a bunch of his friends, and then decides that he's going to do something terrible to that group, and then an entire city is basically left to the wolves, basically, because of people who don't want to invest in their communities anymore, because of people who constantly and utterly always try to say, oh, it don't worry, it'll be fine, it'll be good. Constant people who just calm people down and say like, oh, they're not systematically trying to kill off a whole bunch of people, but in the same sense is like, it's like no, they're not trying to systematically kill off a whole bunch of people. It's like they're trying to systematically cut off people who constantly gun battle with each other and set each other's cars on fire and do a bunch of stupid shit, like say, oh, I'm gonna fuck over this dude because he sells drugs and I don't want him to sell drugs, or I don't want him to do that because that's what I do. Well, okay, well, how about this? Y'all unionize. Is it? No matter what the drug is, even if they find out that you're having a good and like, even if they find you and take away your stuff, they'll still realize and make you realize, or they'll still realize that maybe you have more of a investment in the community. Even if like you have like people who are just like, hey, like, oh my goodness, there's just so much shit that people don't get it and like they don't understand. Sometimes it's just like people like say, oh, like say for instance, like somebody's brother died, or like, yeah, like somebody's brother got murdered or something like that. Like it's because like somebody was big or somebody was cool, a celebrity's family gets hurt or something like that, and you realize that in a way people are trying to manipulate stuff. In a way that people, like a person wanted to manipulate something, because that person wanted to manipulate something. That person, not a big part of what. It's hard to see all the stuff that's going on YouTube and all the stuff that's going on in real life and actually even correlate the two, or even correlate anything. But there's a pattern. There always is. There's always a pattern of something and someone trying to say that, oh well, that thing happened, and oh, there's a dude with oh, he's just joking, that's just the way he is. It's like, yeah, it's just the way he is, but man, seek some therapy, you know? Try to do better, you know? It's like don't just say, oh, that's the way he is, and then it's like before all that shit happens, before any of those people try to shoot each other or try to hurt each other, do you think that they would go out and be able to get to a certain, like, say for instance, but man, it sucks, man. It really does suck, because the more you try to help people, the more they want to, oh, like that's not the way I am, or I don't do that stuff. I think that's crazy, man. Those people are dumb because of the way that I was raised and the fact that my mom was hurt by someone, so she decided that she was going to be completely cut off from people, and then that in turn cut me off from what I would think would be a natural and normal, or not normal, but a regular, what I would call regular societal interactions, and then that decidedly made me a little bit more oh man, it's just, there's so much shit, dude. There's so much shit, and there's so many people just like, I'd say, like, working because they don't think that anything else will work for them. Trying to see a future where
Suspect doing 60 miles per hour in
it sucks, man. It really does. And there's so many people out there that just like, they think that the best of everything is taken, They think, oh, all the hot girls are taken. That's the kind of thinking that gets you into fucked up, stupid situations, and thinking that every other option out there is taken. Realize that we are in a country where you can make your own options, and if people try to fuck you over and say stuff about you, you can sue them and get money. If people tried to say that your business is shit, or your friends are dumb and they don't amount to anything or anything like that, you can say, hey, that's slander. What are you doing? Or that's defamation of character. What are you talking about, man? My friends don't do that shit. My friends aren't mean or bad or mean or stupid, or they just hang around stuff. They loiter at the most. Say that stuff, man. Just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's so much violence and dumb shit happening like literally in other countries that if we're not careful.
Shit, my wheel, man. Oh, that hurt.
I mean, there's so many people out there that really don't like us as a certain point of like just.
Holy shit.
It's like, yeah, you can take pictures of it, but if you get all your people around to like try to give us money, all we're gonna do is buy weapons. That's what Siri is saying. Just make sure that what you're working towards isn't somebody else's millions and millions of dollars and you left by the wayside. Like I said, if you're gonna be the one catching that tear gas canister from somebody, or not catching it but kicking it, and you hurt your foot, or you wind up breathing in those terrible chemicals, make sure that you have at least a retirement plan, or at least something to make sure that you're taken care of afterwards.
Lucky miss.
And if that has anything to do with the U.S. government, then it has everything to do with your future. Because, like I said, it's like you don't have to tell on somebody for shit to happen to people, for things to go down, for stings to happen, for people to be like, and realize if shit hits the fan and you're actually left, like, because there's some shit, man. If people actually start playing with like life and stuff like that, and start like and a whole bunch of different stuff, it's just like there's this entire worldview of people who don't believe or think that there's anything that they can do to help someone, or there's anything that they can do to be a part of something, and not just give monetarily, but give their time. And it sucks to be able to. It sucks to be able to be noticing that. Like, it doesn't suck, but it's pertinent to be able to notice that stuff. It's very pertinent. You have to be able to understand and know that stuff is around, and those people themselves are literally everywhere, just waiting for somebody to fuck up, which is really stupid. The most I can say really about what I want to say is that's also the reasons why I play this game and do this, because I don't want that much traffic. I don't, because I know that all this if I attract the wrong person, they're gonna feel as though that I've wronged them somehow, or said something about them that even though I know a worldview, or I know something about a worldview, that they won't see it. And they'll be like, well, where do you stand on this stuff? And they'll make little opinions about what they think, and they'll never share them with me. But I'm still gonna keep the message board open, because As soon as somebody does realize that that about me, stuff about me is an open book. Not everything about me is an open book. And yes, the reasons why I do say that stuff is to be a little bit more relatable, because I really do want to have a discussion, and I really do want to have a discussion about people and about things. And the more that I the more that I see about what people actually want with themselves, about what people actually want to do, like as far as this thing goes, or as far as this content goes, or as far as I think the most people really need to understand is shit like that can be everywhere. People like that can be, and if people like that can be everywhere, then what hope is left for the people who actually want to start a real society, that actually want to start socializing instead of actually just staying inside all the time and playing video games and talking about their problems. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to make something and be able to see something through, but it also takes an antisocial-esque person to be able to say that, oh, I want to be able to see something through, and I want to be able to make something, but I don't want anyone to be able to see what I made. And yes, I'm going to take this with me.
You are in the 48.
Man. It's hard to be able to manage sometimes what you really want, or what you really want to do with yourself. But understandably so, the more you manage it, the more you manage the world around you. And maybe there's that stupid shit, that fucked up stuff, that places where you don't want people to live because you're dealing with volatile chemicals, or you don't think you should live in the hustle and bustle of the city. Realize that, man, it's just... Realize that it causes people undue stress when you think you know everything about everyone. It makes people really, really scared for you, because that's what I am. I'm scared for other people. I'm scared for people who think they know everything and think they have everything in the bag. Because when the world hands them a shit sandwich and they eat it because they think it's goddamn potpourri, when the world tries to act like, oh, these chemicals and stuff like that are all natural, it's just like, yeah, but also too, in some ways, can this not poison me if I eat too much of it, or if I take too much of it at one time, or if I drink like more than one in a given hour, or more than two in a given day, then I'm literally basically fucked. That in itself is a constant reminder of literally how little control anyone ever has on society. At all. Anyone, at any given point. In any situation, in any world, in any country, on any world, any literal place. How little they actually have about the death toll or the life toll of any of their citizens. Like, I'm sure there's people dying in China because of the black lung or whatever the fuck that shit is, and they're covering it up because they don't want to say anything about it, because they want people's business. And no one's gonna listen to me because they don't give a shit. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in other parts of the country that people don't give a shit about and aren't saying anything about because they don't want to cause a panic. But In the same sense, why would you not want people to be informed about things that are happening in your country? Like, say for instance, there's not there's a lot of things that are happening, but there's not a lot of people saying anything about it. And that's the reason why I don't think that, like, it didn't show up on my phone that there was another school shooting, it didn't say on my phone that there was a shooting right after another shooting, but sure as hell was Trump, because he decided that he was going to take over the news. It's annoying as shit. It's so annoying. It's annoying when people constantly say stuff that doesn't matter or doesn't make any sense, and then people get shot, and then doesn't even make front page. That's what's most annoying, I think. And I need to go blow something up because I like explosions. Doop doop doop. There we go. Yeah. Woo. Remember that the more you on what you're doing, the more you break the bank on what you're selling, the less you have insurance that might happen, that might come your way, that might literally take everything from you. The more you push towards a certain goal or a certain thing, the more the people are going to realize and think that you have just that on your mind. And the more people aren't going to listen to you, the more people aren't going to say things about it. But I try to come up with something different every day that I'm on here. And I really think that...
Hey, dude, just buy something and leave, okay?
Come on, pun.
That mess got me frightened. Whoa.
Down there! Stop shooting right now!
Citizens report assault with a deadly weapon on Great Ocean Highway.
Only $72? Jeez, man. 82? Okay. I think the most of what people really need to start understanding is that there isn't a lot of leeway when you start to think about things. When you start to realize that in a free country there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and a lot of people that are there to be able to make sure that there's nothing that goes wrong. But in the same sense of people who are constantly thinking about what goes wrong or how it goes wrong, there's constantly people who are thinking, even in other countries, about things that may go wrong 20 to 30 years from now, or 40 to 50 years from now. The more we constantly think about what there is on ourselves, or the more we constantly think that, oh, this is a fucking game and the Matrix is taking over or something like that, it's just like, the more I just don't say anything anymore. Let's just play. Not care, because obviously none of it makes any sense. And no, it's not suicidal or anything like that. It's just none of it does. And I'm not saying that there's a systematic change happening or anything like that, because there isn't. It never was. It was always people who were doing fucked up things or stupid things, like trying to move out in a place where they thought they could get information about a certain thing, and people saying that no, it's very dangerous out there by that plant. You shouldn't move there. You should go there. And then people saying that should we be responsible about, god damn it. Why should we be responsible about how they move or where they move? But also, in the same sense, why are we responsible when they get sick because of the stuff that they knew basically what was happening? They knew that the people didn't say, hello, how's it going? We're just your neighborly plant workers. They didn't say, oh, hey, we're working with some really, really great chemicals that are going to make sure that this place can flourish. And also, I just keep, in the same sense, I keep thinking to myself that I'm not going to be able, I'm not gonna stop liking this place or liking any place. That I'm not gonna move backward. That I know it's not hard to think of, because it's not hard to be able to think of yourself as like the want to be able to think of something about the more I think about everything that everyone tries to do and their intentions as well, the more I don't trust anyone. And that's the reason why I think the more so that not people are, but sometimes I'm not even listening to myself. I'm just ranting and raving about something that I really, really feel passionately about. But in the same sense, maybe I shouldn't feel passionately about it. Maybe if I didn't feel passionately about it, I'd be able to come up with a cure, and I'd be able to administer it to the people that it actually matters to. The more I'm able to think about the people that matter and the things that matter in my life, the more I actually come to some sort of clarity. That no one's going to be my hero, so I have to be my own. And I think that's the reason why I studied the way that I did and did the things that I did for so long. And thought about every single aspect of every single thing as I was drawing some sort of detail. Because that's what I was thinking about every single second I was drawing. Thinking about a way that I could think of something that could stop something or do something. To be able to make sure, and people think that, oh, all you do is go, your eyes glaze over and you turn into this beast and you draw. It's like, no, you think about every single detail you can possibly ever think about that ever has been in your line of sight, or even your smell or sense of taste, and what things have reminded you of. The way that it's the wavy or curvy or jagged lines create some sort of emotion, or create some sort of story inside, or narrative inside of your own brain, to be able to make you think that something is a certain way, it in itself is propaganda. It in itself is in a way trying to make you think of something or think of something differently. But in the same sense, that tool can be used for any use. That person can be used as far as what they are or who they are as a person, comparatively speaking, or what they represent as comparatively speaking. Like there is in no way that we've ever given credit to any TV show up to and including when I'd say like presidents were born, that presidents were brought into office, not born. I'm stupid. Presidents were brought into office that wanted to push or promote a product, like say for instance guns or even anything like that. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that, or because I like guns, I really do. I like guns, but I don't like guns. I like them because I like to be able to use them whenever I need them, like if I'm hunting or if I'm camping or if I'm doing something. I like guns and knives, but understandably so, I also have a hard time being able to use them because of my disability, because of me having to work and be delayed by something like that. But also in the same sense, I don't still believe that I'm going to be carrying around guns everywhere I go. No, I don't need to do that. And the only reason why I don't is because my dad taught me Kung Fu. That's the only reason why I feel safe without a gun. That's the reason why. Because I know hand-to-hand combat, and I avoid every situation that can turn into any sort of violence-fueled anything. Every time. Every single time. I try to reason every single second of the day. I try to reason with every single person that ever tries to want to pick a fight with me. Every single time I'm like, please don't. Please do not. Don't do it. Don't. Please don't. I'd say the most I've ever done is like yelled at somebody because they didn't want to yelled at somebody because they didn't want to stay where they should have been. And I think that's moreover the reason why I avoid all those situations sometimes, why I avoid violence and say that there are peaceful resolutions to everything. And also in the same sense, people don't really understand their true value sometimes. And I wish they did. And some people do. Some people really do enjoy and know exactly what I'm talking about, exactly how I'm talking about it. And also they also in themselves find comfort in the fact that they themselves are confident, and that's the only thing they worry about, or the only thing they want to worry about. There are a lot of reasons why I think that the guns don't make the man, and I say that because Because there are real reasons why you yourself have to realize that there's a difference between life and death. And it doesn't just end with intent. It ends with how tired are you? Not to say how fed up are you, but how tired are you? How tired do you feel? Because you really need to ask yourself that question. If you've been going for a year or 2 years, you really need to ask yourself that question. How tired are you? How tired do you feel every single day? How fed up are you with the way that something goes and the way that you have to be? You have to say that you're going to change that, but you're going to change it over time. That you're going to change that. And the probability of someone ending my career before it ever happens, because the probability is pretty high. Because not everyone's going to understand what... Not everyone's going to agree with what I was saying, what I say, or even think about that what I'm saying as if it were real. As if it even makes any sense. There are people out there that believe that. There are people out there that believe every single little detail of their own lives and their own lies. And they create what's the word? They create a world for themselves. A world that they can sustain themselves in. And when they start to sustain themselves, they don't understand that sustaining themselves is the bare minimum. They are doing the bare minimum. They are saying the bare minimum to be able, not even the bare minimum, it's up to the bare minimum, I guess. I think the most people need to worry about, as far as the future goes, is that the more you feel like asking the hard questions, the less people will listen to you. But the more you feel like actually understanding that you're not the center of everything, the more you'll realize the reasons why people aren't paying attention to you is because they're paying attention to stuff like Logan Paul and people who think that they can make a community off of an independent sourced website. Or think that America is a private program. It's not. A privately owned, subsidized business is never what America actually is. Ever. Ever whatsoever. It never will be. Even the NFL, obviously, that I watched Philip DeFranco and all the other different people saying that the NFL is not going to stand, or they don't have to stand. Of course they don't have to stand. But if the government ever wants to put into money to see how far they can push the human body or the human genome or the human anything, because in essence that's what it is, because it's just an effort to see how far or fast we can throw or push ourselves to be. That's what it is. If they ever want government programs or government contracts from any sort of thing, or if they ever want to play in London or any other different country, then what they really need to understand is they don't have to understand, because they're a private company. But understandably so too. They don't need all that money. We can put that money somewhere else, like making clean air. We don't need all that money. NFL doesn't need all that money. They don't need all those sponsors. They don't need all that stuff. They don't need all that new gear. They don't need all that amazing stuff, and that's the reason why all those women want to be a part of them, or the people want to give them a whole bunch of free stuff. They don't need all those sponsors. They really don't. The only reason why they're getting the sponsors in the first place sometimes is because they're actually being a part of the research that really is the human genome or the human body. Because they're test subjects sometimes. We are glorifying test subjects. And when they feel as though they're being pushed too far, they don't want to stand or sit for anything. But understandably so, they don't have to have all the sponsors. Because that's what the economy is doing. When you're standing for an economy for people who think and love and adore you and want to trade and buy and sell you, because that's what you are basically are, as a commodity when you're on the football team. You're a commodity. You're on a Wheaties box. Your face, everything you do, everything you say, every play you make, every catch you make, every block you make, every block you ever do, every charitable event you ever go to is the reason why they go. Is to be able to see your face and to be able to know exactly who you are, because you're the face of the future, because the future itself is basically shaped around what you do. But when people don't want to do what they don't want to do, then they don't have to. But understandably so, they don't have to get those sponsors. They don't have to have those things. They don't have to have those endorsements, because that's what the economy itself is built on. It's built on literally Gatorade to make sure that those guys can do whatever they want to, or water to be able to make sure that those guys can make sure that they can make every play, or oxygen tanks that are completely filtered and and built to be able to house an amazing amount of pressured oxygen to be able to bring it to their lungs to make sure that they can actually make the plays, because without it they'd barely be able to run as fast as they can. So all the food that they eat, because if they eat the food that they eat, if they have to eat that food, then it's all the sponsorships that they get, to every single sponsorship that they get, because they stand for something that is great. What is great, really realizing that the biggest trap there ever will be, the biggest trap for anyone who ever thinks that they can control society with a run, or a catch, or a block, or hey, did you see that hit? My gosh, that guy got knocked out. And then you start to really understand the reasons why they do those hits. Is because they test out their equipment. It's no mystery. It's the fact that they're making safety equipment with every single hit that they make. They're making safety equipment for the military, for private security companies, for people who have disabilities. The whole 9 yards. Every single ounce of economic structure that revolves around football is America. And if people don't feel like standing for the national anthem, they don't have to. But understandably so, they don't have to have those endorsements. They don't have to have those sponsorships, because that's what they stand for. They stand for safety. They stand for justice. They stand for everything that is the American way. And if they really don't feel like having us, U.S., United States of America, as their sponsorship, then they can take off those blue and those red and those white colors. Because they don't stand for America. They're a private company. Everything that goes into everything that everyone does in any substance or any situation can be able to help out the person that comes after them. And I'm jumping on this train. God damn it. Come on, another one. Yeah, come on. Oh, damn it. Alright. And that's what America is about. That's the reason for America. To be able to make sure that the people that come after us don't have to do it as hard as we did it. That's the reason. Matter if I'm in the military or not, or I'm in anything or not. The fact is there's gonna become a time when people live to be 150 without a freaking flip of the cap, or without any effort whatsoever.
You motherfucker! I'm gonna eat your finger.
And no matter what people actually believe or think, or what actually people are seeing, whatever they're going to see, or however they're going to see it, a possible future, or a possibility itself, realize that you can stand for that possibility. Please stand for that possibility. And that possibility right now is red, white, and blue. That's stars. And that's what that flag represents. The possibility that everyone and everything could exactly live forever. Exactly. And the rights given to those things and people to be able to either be but mostly to be. I think, therefore I am. I am now breathing involuntarily, or voluntarily, or whichever word it is, but realize that there is smog everywhere. And no matter what kind of chemtrails they want to use or say, that realize that the only thing that they're doing is creating clouds, basically. And if there was any carbon that was actually being burned, then that's what would happen. That's the reason why. But also too, there's also a thing that people make inside of their own bodies. It's called mucus. The more mucus they make, the more things that actually happen inside of their own bodies, and that more that carbon itself is being enacted to be able to the more people get used to certain environments. So trust me and believe me when I say that people themselves are more resilient and more adaptable than people actually think they are. If a person can sit next to an active volcano with a camera in nothing but a fire suit and insulated pads to be an insulated fire resistant pads on their bodies, and that's what I think this video game kind of represents, and people would think that this thing kind of represents is if it makes you happy, then go ahead and do it. But understandably so, if it breaks a law, then we came up with laws for a reason, didn't we? We were bored for a reason, and probably so to be able to make sure that we didn't hurt anyone on our journey to self-discovery. And no matter how much of a pussy kind of idea that sounds like, it inspires some pretty terrible fucking people. Those terrible people could be literally anywhere, and people would know that. But understandably so, if they ever tried some shit, if anything ever popped off, they'd be taken down in an instant. And the more they try, the more they lose money. The more they lose money, the more they lose a hold on the people that they're actually holding on to in the first place. The more their hostages become people who are free. Which is the more reason they'll change their mind. And when they're rotting in a cell, they'll wish they would have saw our way. Shit doesn't just go away. I'm a patriot or whatever. You are your own one-man bomb squad, and all it takes is a sentence to be able to defuse a situation, to make sure that someone else can have a better and brighter future. If you are American, then you know. If you are a person who isolates themselves and makes robotics when no one else is looking, then show your work to people who matter, and then they'll be able to say, "Hey, you want a job?" And if you don't get a job, then try again. Because maybe it just doesn't happen the first time. The American dream is alive and well. And has always been. Be there for your fellow man. Even if that fellow man just so happens to try to be your enemy. And no matter what kind of thing you're into, realize that it's better to think about yourself, but it's right to think about others too. Thank you, and if you ever listen, thank you. Have a good day, and I'm gonna do some work now. Have a good day. Woo!